All right, mask on. Time to do this. Well, it's Election Day, November 3rd, 2020. I'm Jer Stays, and this is your Daily Detroit. Today is a bit of a shorter show as there's a lot happening, but we simply don't know what the results are yet. So we'll get into a few things to know around Metro Detroit and a series of election updates as of Tuesday afternoon. First off, the pandemic. We're looking at more than 3,100 new COVID-19 cases and 43 deaths reported Tuesday by the state of Michigan. That brings our totals to nearly 188,000 cases and 7,400 fatalities. The positive test rate in Michigan is about 7.5%, with Macomb County coming in higher, closer to 9%, and Oakland and Wayne County slightly lower. Back in the beginning of October, statewide, that positive test rate was just about 3%. If you've ever wanted to convert an old gas-powered GM car into an electric vehicle, you're in luck. Starting in the back half of 2021, General Motors will be selling an electric drive kit with components used in the Chevy Bolt. It's called eCrate, and what's inside includes a 147-kilowatt motor, a 60-kilowatt-hour battery, an inverter, converter, wiring, and battery cooling. To promote this, GM installed this new setup in an old 77 Chevy Blazer that used to have a 6.6-liter V8. The electric kit improves the power and speed performance of the vehicle, and, well, you won't need gas anymore. Now, this isn't for your home garage. It's for certified specialists, and there is a process to become one if you work on these vehicles. And the kit isn't totally plug and play, as you'll need to convert the brakes and hydraulic power steering by adding electrified components to power those old beasts. Third-party kits to do this for various car models have been around for a while, but it is rare for a manufacturer to offer them. But I think it's kind of neat. I'm that guy who likes cars that are, well, in a word, different. I subscribe to a YouTube channel of a guy who rehabilitated and drives his old East German 2-cylinder Trabant. Sticking with electrics and the Detroit 3, let's talk about Ford real quick. As we've covered previously on the show, General Motors is going to enter the EV market with their giant GMC Hummer EV, and that comes with a giant price tag north of $112,000. Now, Ward's Auto is reporting that Ford is going in a different direction. In an interview with Ford CEO Jim Farley, he says their electric vehicles, including their flagship F-150, will be between $20,000 and $70,000 out the door. Launching with the Ford F-150 and the Mustang Mach-E, Farley also said we could see compact utility vehicles and compact vehicles. That would be an interesting move for Ford, who pulled their stakes out of the small car market in recent years. Affordable and electric vehicle aren't really synonymous right now, and if that drivetrain will be the car of the future, the price has got to come down while keeping the range and features pretty up there. All right, here we go with the latest in election stuff as of Tuesday afternoon. NBC News reports that Federal District Judge Emmett Sullivan ordered U.S. postal inspectors to sweep postal facilities in Detroit and select other districts across the country. This is to ensure that no ballots have been held up and that any identified ballots are immediately sent for delivery. Previous Senate oversight reports have highlighted that recently, Metro Detroit has had the slowest mail delivery in the nation and the lowest on-time delivery percentage due to recent cuts. As of this morning, more than 3.1 million absentee ballots have been received, and more than 440,000 have not yet been returned. Michigan Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson is also revising her estimate on when those ballots will be counted. She had said 3 days. Late Tuesday afternoon, she is now saying that we will get those results, quote, much sooner, unquote. She said that the count has gone more efficiently and that they have had few problems in processing the ballots. In speculation news, multiple outlets report that if Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden wins, our governor, Gretchen Whitmer, said in a Zoom call with journalists that she had no interest in joining his cabinet. There have been a lot of hot takes on the heels of Whitmer's raised national profile for her handling of the pandemic, clashes with President Donald J. Trump, and subsequently being the target of a kidnapping and murder plot. And if that last story wasn't an example that 2020 really needs better writers, here's another one. The robocall storyline is back. Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel sent word out Tuesday morning that a group is targeting Flint voters with robocalls, similar to how Detroiters were targeted earlier this year by GOP operatives. But this time, it's a call from an unknown group saying to vote tomorrow because the lines are long. That statement, of course, is completely false and an attempt to confuse voters. Looking at the track record, you can expect state officials to trace and find out who is behind these calls for prosecution. In battleground news, one of the most watched races is that for the Senate seat right here in Michigan. Democrat Gary Peters, the incumbent, has been in a closer than expected fight with Republican John James. But the most recent polls, they show Peters' lead widening. A Reuters Ipsos poll released over the weekend put Peters over the magic 50% number, which is a strong indicator for an incumbent. They have Peters at 51% and James at 44%. However, this race is still clearly of concern. This afternoon, Democratic vice presidential candidate Kamala Harris campaigned with Peters at a union facility in Southfield. And finally, in an update to yesterday's show, disgraced former Mayor Kwame Kilpatrick has still not yet been released. Well, that's it for today. Tomorrow, Steve Freese from Newsweek and Hour joins me to understand what happened with a focus right here on Michigan. After all, don't forget there are state house and Senate races too. In the meantime, I'll be on Twitter tonight at The Daily Detroit. You can email me at jer@dailydetroit.com with feedback and ideas. Thanks so much for our members on Patreon for making the show possible, and thanks so much for listening. I'm Jer Stays. Take care of each other, and I'll see you around Detroit.